Okay, so we're live. Greetings, this is Edo Jambo. I have another short tutorial for you today. In this one, we're going to create an HTML5 color picker, but we're going to make it simpler than last time. We're actually going to use the built-in color picker from the input. Yes, you heard me right, then input, the form input. The type is color, that's what we're going to use. And we're going to tweak it so we can have RGB, HSL, and hex colors. And I'll show you how to do that. Before we begin, quick reminder, I have a live stream every single day. There are a few days this month where there will not be a live stream, so I'll upload something there. And the day after, we should be back to normal. Okay, also be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. Hope you guys are enjoying this, and I do appreciate people who have subscribed this month. Thank you very much. So let's continue here. So one of the things with the HTML color picker is that, as I said before, we're going to use the input element with the type color. This allows you to easily implement a color picker. Obviously, we're going to, as I said before, we're going to tweak it a little bit so we have style it and all that the way we want. And also, if so obviously we're going to use JavaScript. So if you I do have a JavaScript course, by the way. It's available on Amazon. The links also in the description. It's called Learning JavaScript, and I also have the course also called Learning JavaScript, which is available on jamboshop.com. The links are also in the description. And I'm also available for one-on-one tutorials with any programming language. It could be, for example, JavaScript, PHP, Python, C++, C, React, other frameworks as well, or just anything to do programming. I'm available for that. Available on jambo.com/contact. Okay, so this HTML5 element enables users to select a color from a color palette, and that's the basis of our color picker. So I have the code snippets here. You can simply expand here and you can grab the code snippets, but basically this is what it's going to look like here. You see, as long as you have the input element, you type the color, it will be color, and that's it. And then the bonus is you can also have a default color. So this is what we're going to use JavaScript, so that we'll set a default color, and then every time the color will be updated, the value will be that color. Okay, so this makes it pretty easy to obviously make it interactive using JavaScript. I had to do this. I had to create an application before HTML5, and it was extremely difficult, but this makes it extremely easy. And then with some CSS, because by default it just gives one line, which is really weird. So with some CSS, as you can see here, if you give it a little like a box or border or something, then you actually, like right here, you see this one, this part here, this is actually the input box. So you can make it any size you want, and you can see you can make it like a color swath. So it just makes things so much easier. And obviously then you can take whatever color swath is the color, and just add it here, make it bigger. So what we're doing today as well is, as you see, we put the hex code here and we put RGB. So somebody can manually put the hex code they want, and then it will convert it into RGB automatically, and also put the color there. So or if you put the RGB, it will put the hex here for you. Nice and simple. All right, and then as you can see, when you click on it, it's going to have the color picker come up, and you can see you can set it to whatever you want. RGB, there's a little drop down here, you can change it to RGB, or you can change it to HSL, and of course you can also do the hex code as well, all three of them. All right, and then this is the live stream video. If you don't want to go to the channel to watch the video, you can simply watch it live. It's embedded onto the article on jambo.com. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get started with the coding part of this tutorial. Okay, so last time we created a round color picker, and this one, it's this one here, color-picker. This time, because we're doing along the same concept. So we're gonna actually we're doing more, but we're gonna use less code. It's actually fun, so that's why I call this one color-picker 2.html. So as usual, we just have the doc type. The reason I did this is so that there's less mistakes and the tutorial can go fast. I said because I already have the snippets of the code already on the article. So then you can style it any way you want. This is just a title. This is just a viewport if you have a smaller screen. And then of course we have the font. This doesn't really matter. Actually, I can probably remove that. And there's the color container and the color swath. You see I made it 100 pixels. And then I just gave it a gap here, but this is not really necessary. You can do whatever you want. This is the part I was telling you about. See the color, the type color. I gave it a width of 50 pixels and height of 50 pixels, and gave it no border. This way you can see it here. All right, and then this is the elements. Just use divs for the container, the color swath, the container, the input container. Obviously we have the color and we have the text. So the text, there's two texts. One is for the hex code and one is for the RGB code. I could have put the HLSL, but that's rarely used, especially for the web based things. Usually you only care about the hex code or RGB. At least that's my case. If you do use HSL, let me know. I could add that in a future tutorial, but you can easily add it here yourself. Okay, and then here's the JavaScript. So as you can see, we grab the color picker, which is this one here, the input type color. Then we grab the hex code text, this one here, and we grab the text for RGB. That's it here. And then the color swath, that's going to be this one here. That's the big rectangle you see from here to here. Okay, and then after that we have some functions, JavaScript functions. One is to update the colors. This should be straightforward. All we do is you update the hex code and the RGB code. That's all it will do. Now, for example, if somebody updates the RGB code or the hex code, then we can grab those values and then do a conversion. So basically, as you can see here, based on the hex code, we convert it from hex to RGB. Otherwise, we convert it from RGB to hex. That's pretty straightforward. And this is the function RGB to hex. We take the hex, we take the RGB code. Then we create our own specific function to convert it into hex, because hex is it's six characters. All right, and then to convert hex to RGB, we just take the hex code. We grab each three, for example, the red, green, and blue, and then we, as you can see, we do the same thing here. So a simple conversion. That's it. And then of course we have an add event listener, so meaning that when the color picker is chosen, whatever color we get the value of it, and then we pass it to the update color function, which will, if you remember, it will then so whether it's a hex code or it's an RGB, it will grab it and then it will convert into the specific one. So the hex to RGB, RGB to hex. And then for the hex code input, remember you can also manually put the hex codes in there. We grab the event, then what we'll do is we also grab that value, and then if it's in the proper format, we'll update the color, that function as well. And then we'll have the same thing for the RGB input. We grab it, if it's in the proper format, there is at least three. See, this is a regular expression, 333. We do the same thing and we convert it into, we pass it into, so to update our hex code as well. And same here, you see I said it's hex is usually 666 of them. We're not doing RGBA or actually hex code. You can also do the alpha transparency. We're not doing that, just to keep it simple. And then by default, we set a default color, and this is what we chose for the default color. Just to match everything properly. So that's it. That's the little code. And then this one, you don't need a web server, you can run it anywhere. So for example, I'm going to run in a different browser. I'm going to open up Chromium. I'm just going to drag, where's Chromium? Oh, the Chromium is already open. Okay, so here's Chromium. I just drag color 2 into Chromium. Here we go. And I'll show you what it looks like. So this is the default color, as you can see here. So what you do is you just grab this and change it to another color, for example this one or this one, you can see it changes automatically, and you can see the hex code changes, and so does the RGB. And you see here it says RGB. You see 2126464. This changes here and it matches automatically. Now you can also, obviously this is RGB, but for example I can do HSL, or I can also do the hex code. So for example, if I do hex code here, you can see the hex code also changes here. See the hex code here is exactly the same as this one here. Now if you're wondering why this is not exactly the same as this, I mean you can easily do that with CSS. There's just a couple of all caps. This one is all caps, this one is lowercase. It doesn't really matter, they will be the same. So as you can see, you can pick any color you want, it will keep on changing. So for this one, for example, if I change this to white, no, let's change it to black. So black is 0, 0, 0. You see automatically it changes all of this. The hex code is 0, 0, 0. So for example, if I want to change this to white, so I'm going to use hex code this time. It's FF, FF, FF. You see that's white, and you see the RGB changed automatically. It's changed automatically. Now if I use this color picker, for example, if I go to, like, I can go to white, see that's white, or I can go all the way to black. You see black there, and there we go. So I should probably change this code so this one changes when this guy's changed too, but that's all up to you. You can easily change that any way you want. And you see by default it's RGB, but I said you can also change it to something else like hex, as we did before. You can see the hex is there as well. So that's basically it for this programming of this tutorial. See how simple that is? So as I said, you saw how simple, how many few lines of code of JavaScript I used for this. I had to implement something like this it was for a shoe company, Olibate, that I took over. It had like PHP 4, and I updated it to PHP 7, and then PHP 8.2, 8.3 actually. So I had something where, you know, they want in the admin area, when they have a color of a shoe or a boot, they wanted to be able to see the color swatches. Some of them are very unique, so I gave them this, but I said I had to program it old way, because they didn't have the HTML5 yet. What I'm saying is that this is very simple to do, as you just saw. This will be perfectly fine. So I said, if you need help implementing something like this into your application, let me know, and I can help you do that. If you need help with that. So that's the end of the coding part of the tutorial. Let's go finish this up. So quick reminder that every day I host a live stream. Visit ojambo.com for details, and also it's always Eastern time, which is around 2 p.m. and also be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. And also quick reminder that I do have a book called Learning JavaScript available on Amazon. The links are also in the description. I also have a course with the same name, Learning JavaScript, available on ojamboshop.com, and it covers topics such as variables, functions, objects, arrays, and much more. So you should be able to be up and running with JavaScript if you're a complete beginner. And if you need professional help or personalized help, I'm also available for one-on-one programming tutorials, including obviously JavaScript. Whether you need assistance with JavaScript, HTML, or any other topic, feel free to contact me at ojambo.com/contact. Okay, so let's wrap this up again. The HTML5 input type color element is a powerful and simple tool to implement color pickers on your website. It's easy to use, as you just saw, and with a little JavaScript you can make your website interactive by letting users select and apply colors to various elements. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, or if you like to learn more about JavaScript and web development. Have fun coding. Thank you very much, and be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon if you're already subscribed, so you don't miss any tutorials, live tutorials. Okay, with that said, I'm going to end this one. I don't see any chat requests in the live chat, so I'm going to end this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. It'll be 2 days. Thank you, and have a great day.